Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leader in rushing, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check me out on Twitter at Packers_access. You can find this YouTube audio anywhere you get your podcasts at. Packer Fan Total Access is what you search. Packer Fan Total Access. It is February the 7th. The Packers have a huge decision to make on Christian Watson coming up this season. Are they going to extend him? Obviously, he's under contract through the 2026 season, but what does it mean moving forward? I think he's going to be 27, 28 years old, somewhere around that age. Do they sign him to a 3-year deal? Do they sign him to a 4-year deal? All those discussions are really going to ramp up as we get into training camp. You guys know how I feel about Christian Watson as a Packer fan. I think he's an absolute dog. I want him to be a part of Green Bay for a very, very long time. How does he feel about it? Well, he met with Ian Rapoport and Tom Pelissero with the insiders on NFL Network. I think it was yesterday at a radio row, whatever you want to call it, media row for the Super Bowl. We're going to get all of his takes on that, the rehab process, how healthy he was last year, at what point during the year did he feel like he was 100%. Also, of course, he's going to be asked about the contract extension as well. Before we get into it all, if you would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your morning. We are not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future content that we create here on the channel. Let's waste no time, jump into it. I know the chat's on fire. I'm going to try to include you guys as much as possible. I want to get your take on this whole Christian Watson thing. We've got about a 5-minute audio clip. We'll pause it in between and just cover, just kind of give our thoughts on everything that Christian Watson had to say. Here we go. This is Christian Watson with the insiders on NFL Network yesterday.
From money lines to a money player whenever the Packers need a big play, wide receiver Christian Watson joined us right now. What's going on, man? How we doing?
Not much. Having a good time out here in San Fran.
So you get down to Tampa some in the offseason, get out of the pretty cold winter up there. Just tell me about how long you give yourself to kind of breathe and rest before you go back to hardcore training.
This year, I'm going to give myself a little bit of extra time because last year I got 0 time to rest. I straight to the rehab, straight to everything with that. So, I give myself a good little 2-3 weeks, just kind of, relax, wind down, and then get right back into things. Not much downtime.
I'm going to talk about this.
I want to hit that for just a second. The fact that, we just kind of take that for granted, right? Us as fans, we don't really put 2 and 2 together when you talk about the rehab process. We've heard everyone, as soon as they tear their ACL, you'll hear other players talk about players who tear their ACL. They're like, man, I hate it for him. I know that grind's like, I know what he's about to enter. Most of these guys, they get a little bit of the off season, right? They get to go relax a little bit. They're still training, and whatnot, and then get into the OTAs, the off season program and all that. But when you've got an ACL, when you tear an ACL, you have a major injury like that, it's just rehab constantly. So you probably do feel like you don't have much time off. I love the fact that Christian busted his ass, got back on the field as quick as possible, and then to be as impactful as he was, in my opinion, to me, he looked like a better football player, to be honest with you.
Season a little bit because you missed half of it, and when people come back from a major injury, everyone says the same thing. You're like, oh, take your time, make sure you're right. It sounded like, from talking to Packers people, you were like itching to get out there, probably like a little ahead of schedule. Did you even surprise yourself at how you came back from that pretty serious injury?
I definitely did because, I was probably like 2 months in, and that's when you get to the brunt of it where you're starting to feel better, but, walking around, moving around is not feeling too great. So you get to that point, you're like, how am I don't know if I'm going to feel, much better, a month from now, but it all kind of goes really quick, honestly. Once you get moving around, all that stuff kind of starts going away. So, I definitely surprised myself. Once I was getting down to the wire, I was definitely just itching to keep on going through the progression. But, they got to tell you to, slow down and stop. It was amazing, how smooth everything went for me. And I'm just, grateful and blessed to have been in that position.
And you could tell too, man, we knew as Packer fans this coaching staff was going to have to hold Christian back, right? He was going to want to get out there. Who knows, maybe week one, he would have wanted to get out there. If I remember correctly, he was there in training camp the entire time. It seemed like we were all impressed with the videos that were coming out of him running sprints and cutting and everything in between. Just what an absolute work ethic that dude has.
All right, let's talk about next season, because you got a new coach. Ian knew all about it. Noah Bawley, your wide receivers coach from college, is now in Green Bay. You were just telling us off camera it wasn't part of your plan, but what's he bring to the table? How excited are you to have him there?
I'm super excited. I mean, he was a great coach for me. He was probably one of my favorite coaches I've had in my coaching career, if not, the favorite. So I'm excited to have him. I think he'll bring a different dynamic to the offense, a different mindset. But I know he's going to be dialed in. He's going to get us right at receiver, get us going, and I think we'll have a special group next year.
I love the hire too. We hit on that when the news broke. We told you about the new wide receiver coach and how he had ties at North Dakota State to Christian Watson, and of course, after North Dakota State, you had him went on to Iowa State, where he, coached up Jaden Higgins. He coached up Jalen Noel. All those guys over there just churned out some absolute freaking dogs at the wide receiver position. I think it's awesome that he's going to have I don't know what the right word is here, extra support, I guess you could say, in the wide receiver room. Christian Watson, I think we would all agree right now, is the top dog in that wide receiver room. So the fact that he's going to be a vocal leader and he's going to have his coaches back, I think that's going to be absolutely awesome as they get that thing cranked up. And I love that he said, I think he's going to bring a different dynamic to our offense. Maybe Matt LaFleur will allow him to incorporate some of the ideas he has too. And I don't know, man, I'm just kind of getting the vibe that this offseason is leading to the Packers maybe being a little even more of a pass-happy offense. I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out. But here we go.
Go back to, let's say, November. Packers are in position for the number 1 seed. Like, you guys are absolutely rolling. Tucker Kraft gets hurt. I think it was against Carolina. You have like a little bit of a lull for a couple of weeks there. Then he starts to come. They start to get other guys back. Then Micah gets hurt. How much do you feel like was left on the bone for what the 2025 Packers could have been? And how much, if at all, does that make you optimistic about, all right, if we get these dudes back right, 2026 could be pretty good?
There was definitely a lot left on the bone. I think that everybody in the locker room felt that. It was, really disappointing for us, when we got to the end of the season and it ended the way it did. But it definitely gives us a lot of optimism going forward. We know what we're capable of. We just got to find a way to close those games out. And I think everyone will have that chip on their shoulder going into next year. Obviously we'll get some new pieces as well. And we know what the end goal is for our team, and we know that we got the guys to do it. So we just got to go in with the right mindset next year and get it done.
When Tom brought you in here, described you as a money player, and anyone who has seen your work on the field knows that is the case. While you were injured, actually, you got a little contract extension from the Packers.
All right, so the contract extension they're talking about, if you guys aren't familiar, basically what they did was they extended him 1 year, okay? He was under contract through the 2025 season. They extended it through 2026. They also tacked on 3 voidable years with that, okay? What does that mean? The extension was 1 year, $11 million. It included $6 million signing bonus, so they gave him some guaranteed money right up front, like, hey, let's go ahead and get you under contract through next year. Let's both look at this like let's test it. Let's wait and see. If the knee looks good on our part, you feel good about where you're at in this offense, then we could talk a huge contract extension. I love the fact that the olive branch was kind of extended there. So, again, in terms of the cap hit this year, Christian Watson, think about this, guys. Christian Watson's cap hit this year, $6.9 million. Now, they tacked on 3 voidable years, and the way it is $1.2 million of signing proration is spread out over 27, 28, 29, which is nothing. It's chump change. So why did they do that? They didn't need the extra $3 million in cap space, because essentially if they move on from him this year and he doesn't return in 2027, the $3.6 million in dead cap that's pushed out over the voidable years will now accelerate to the current year. So you got a cap penalty of 3.6, which is nothing. Why did they feel obligated, guys? Why did they feel obligated to put $1.2 million on the cap for the next 3 years when you didn't need the cap space? Because they wanted to go ahead and put the skeleton in place, right? The structure of the contract extension in place. I don't know if it was more of a, hey, look, here's how we're looking to do it. Probably going to be a 3-year deal if everything shakes out, and then we'll talk numbers and dollars and cents at the end. Now, again, you can still give him more guaranteed money this year if you wanted to, I guess you could say, or once you hit actually, you don't have to hit the 1-year deadline. I found that out. I'm almost 100% positive that as long as it happens in the same calendar, or doesn't happen the same league calendar year, you can extend the contract. So he can extend at any point now because once we get to March, he can, because it's now a new league calendar year. However, when you look at the structure of that, I'm simply saying it looks like they're planning already for a 3-year extension. Just want to put that out there.
The way you played at the end of the year, what you showed coming back from injury, and as big a piece of this offense as you are, do you feel like you have earned another one? Because it certainly feels like you have.
I mean, definitely. I know that, my goal is.
That may upset people. That may upset Packer fans that he said definitely. Doesn't upset me at all. He earned that contract, period, case closed.
Is to be with Green Bay long term, and that's where I want to be. That's where I want to be for quite some time. So ideally I'd like to get something done that'll keep me there long term. But I've got people in my circle who handle that side of things, and I'm just going to go out there and worry about football. Making sure I'm putting myself in the best position to be at my best next year. Hopefully we can figure out that in whenever it happens.
All right, when you leave here, you're going to go home. Are you one of those players who watches the Super Bowl, or you don't watch?
No, we don't care about how he watches the Super Bowl, right? So you guys get the gist there. I love his answer too, man. That's the way you handle it. That's the way you handle that whole situation, is you let your agents handle it. Make sure nothing gets personal. Don't get in the way. Don't try to get involved. And here's the beautiful thing. Brian Gutekunst isn't going to pull a Jerry Jones and come swooping in behind the agent and go, hey, Christian, let's talk dollars and cents here, buddy. Get your agent out of the room. That's not going to happen. Let's go to the chat real quick and see what everybody's saying. Blake B says Scoot said he's going to be salty watching the game tomorrow and that his agent will handle the contract. Appreciate your take there, Blake B. We got Joseph in the chat. CW has progressed very nicely as wide receiver over his time here. The best is still yet to come. Keep him here. Completely agree with that, Joseph. And Chris N says 4 years, $100 million. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. I got to be honest with you, though, Chris. If they don't get the extension done in training camp and Watson blows up, he may fly past that, because when these GMs go to look for a wide receiver of the future, a wide receiver to lock down on their roster, they're typically, yes, they're looking at production, but you also got to look at Christian Watson and go, damn, this dude is 6'4", 6'5", runs a 4.3 40. This guy's an athletic freak. The production's matching it as well. He's got work ethic through the roof. His teammates love him. He's done everything correctly. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how much the money does end up being. Now, if you guys are watching this video back later, let me know in the comments, how do you feel about the Christian Watson interview there? How do you feel about the contract extension that's looming here over the Green Bay Packers as we get closer to the 2026 calendar year for the league? I want to hear from you guys in the comments. What would be the number you put on it? Do you want him back? I'm sure everybody wants him back. I think we all do. But what would be the number that you would put on that to bring him back? And if you don't have a take on it, just do us a favor and hit us with the Go Pack Go in the comments. We greatly appreciate it. Hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you catch all the future content. All right, we got Jacob joining us now. Jacob, how you doing this morning, bub?
Man, I'm just waking up. Sorry, I was a little late.
You're good, dude.
That's how it is. How it is. I just want to reiterate. I mean, Christian Watson, man, he's just such a good guy, man. Like, he really is. And we've went back and forth about, he was one of my draft crushes, like, that I could not believe that we had. I believe that Ryan's kid said the same thing. Like, when we actually drafted him, it's like, wow, we actually got him. North Dakota State dude, just coming in here and just absolutely just being the epitome of what it means to be a professional. Like, he has just done what is done, even come through injury, which I think is the biggest kind of, like, him coming through an injury that was that bad and just coming back and being that valuable for this team. I think that it shows a lot about his character, about a lot how he's raised. We've had his mother on this podcast before. We've talked about his father quite a bit. It's definitely, he was raised right. I'll just say that.
Mm-hmm. I agree, man. I love his personality. And I've seen people in the comments say, man, his personality is way different than his dad's. Yes, it is. And here, newsflash, my personality is totally different from my dad's. Like, it's funny too, because but we'll just leave it at that. It is what it is, right? Sometimes popses have a different mindset, a different attitude towards everyone else than maybe the kid does. So I think it's very, very interesting. Clint C says Watson has integrity. He really does, man. And his mom, when we interviewed her, she was a sweetheart. hearing her get emotional about the entire process. We see these guys now, they're kids to me. I'm to that age now, being, 43 years old, that it's like, I look up now and I'm like, man, these could be my children. Right. So I don't look at them like this upper echelon. Oh, this is this player. Let me get an autograph type. You know what I mean? It's just not me. But when you hear her story and how they had to pick and choose on what practices to go to and this and that, and it's not like they were, yes, his dad played in the league for a short time, but I didn't get the sense that the parents were just loaded and everything was all easy. It was a blue collar bring up, really. And I think that's what really molds a person into the player, the human being that they become. And then obviously Christian being a new father, recently got married. He's just everything you want in a Green Bay Packer. I completely agree, Clint. He's got integrity. Josh Martin says 4 years, $16 million per. I'd be on board with that. I'd be totally on board with that. Again, and if you do 4 years, a 4 years really a 3. You could structure it in a way that it's really a 2. And then as you start to approach that 30-year age, then you can kind of decide if you want to move on or not, right? And unfortunately, that's the downsides of the business for sure. Let's see what else we got here. Blake B says Christian counts as a first-round wide receiver, in my opinion. There you go. He definitely had a first-round grade on him. I feel confident saying that they had a first-round grade on Christian Watson for sure. Let's see here. He said, yeah, he was like pick 34. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Plessy. So love it. Chad Inc. says 4 year, $100 million. I'm more than comfortable with that number. So everybody seems to be pretty much on board. I haven't seen anyone that's like, nope, don't want him back. Other than Chewy said he's a bum. Just kidding. Chewy said so. Don't get mad at Chewy. He was just joking. Ron Sample says Williams is 3 year, $83 million. I think. Who's he talking about? Williams there? Do you catch on to that? I don't know. I'm lost, Ron. Help me out, bub. Here we go. Okay, sorry. Okay. Saying it would be close to Williams in Detroit. Got it.
Jameson. Yeah.
Jameson Williams. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Keyron in the chat says, give him 3 years on top of this year, $22 million per. No problem with it either, man. No problem at all, Keyron. Now we'll see what Goody does, right? We'll see how Goody approaches it. So, yeah. And then too over this has the important question is when y'all having Drewski on the show. Boy, Drewski, man. If you guys didn't watch the NFL Honors, he tried to say Jackson Smith and Jigba. And if it hadn't been Drewski, he'd probably be labeled a racist.
JSN, buddy. Just go JSN.
Just keep it at JSN if you can't say it, Drewski. All right, for sure. I'll tell you, one of the best podcasts I ever heard or shows was Theo Vaughn having Drewski on his show was just epic. You've got to, if you guys have not watched that, just type in YouTube, Theo Vaughn, Drewski. Sit back and enjoy the show, man. It's absolutely
Theo
awesome.
Vaughn, that dude is so freaking funny.
I grew up with 12 people in my neighborhood just like Theo Vaughn. I'm just telling you right now. That was the type of people we grew up with. And there was no filter. There was no nothing. There was just, hey, here's what's on your mind. Speak it. And nobody got mad over it. Nobody got sensitive. It's just, I am so, and I know people that grew up in the 70s and the 60s probably feel the same way, just like kids today probably feel, about their generation. But man, I am just so glad I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. It was just such a fun time. Looking back and how the world has changed, it's just, I look up all the time and go, I know what people meant now when they said, I wish I could go back there, because it was just simpler. It was
just used to rib each other, man. It was,
yeah. It was just, and we took care of each other. It was, nobody wasn't trying to hurt anybody's feelings. And that's why I refer to myself as a redneck. Some people, don't that upset you that people think you're a redneck? No, I don't. First of all, do you even know the history of the term redneck?
Right.
If you do a little studying on that, you'll be like, damn, that is something to be proud of.
I mean, I know.
I don't want to get too deep into it, but the history of the redneck is it was because of red bandanas that were tied around coal miners' necks because the government was getting involved trying to screw them out of pay in the coal mines and everything. So again, it's everybody just takes everything so serious nowadays. So yeah, 90s was peak, says Josh Martin. What were you gonna say, Jacob? I'm sorry.
No, just I mean, blue collar work, man. You find out who your brothers are. You really do. I mean, you guys, if you've ever worked that type of work, you will make fun of each other to the point where you're like, oh, yeah. Golly, like what are you even saying?
You could tell by the way that people get sensitive and how they interact on social media. You could tell the ones that never had the shovel in their hand down in the footer. I promise you that, man. They've never been hanging off a rebar 20 to 40 feet in the air and at 95 degrees to the point where you can hear your skin sizzle when you touch the rebar. they're sitting at home behind the keyboard and upset. Everything just wrecks their day. My goodness. Let's I want to do this real quick, Jake, if it's cool with you. I want to flash back to last year's draft. I've been wanting to do this for some time. Okay. So what I want to do, guys, is I want to pull up the draft board from last year, and I've got it sorted by the Packers picks here. Okay. And if you can't see it, Jacob, I'll try to explain to you what we're looking at here. Let me go a little bit wider, and then we're going to try to zoom in. I'm going to try to get it just right here if we can. So what I've got it sorted by right now, guys, the block 75, and I'll try to explain it for everybody on the podcast. 75 through 81 here are the Packers picks last year. Okay. And when you hear us talk about the cheese emoji, when you hear us talk about certain grades and this and that, this is what we mean by this. Okay. So Matthew Golden was our first pick, right? Well, and keep this in mind as well, guys. I've got this sorted by the draft grade that we had on these players. So if y'all want to do a side-by-side reference, I don't have where they were actually taken, although we can pretty much guess about where they were taken. I just want to show you where we thought we reached and where maybe we thought we got a good value pick, okay? And then, of course, the emojis will explain that as well. The cheese emoji mean the Packers met with them. So of the 7 players, and did we only draft 7 players last year, Jacob? Am I thinking right? Wasn't it just 7?
I believe so.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys correct me if I'm wrong on any of this in the chat. I'm just kind of doing it on the fly. But of the 7 players that we drafted, 5 of them the Packers met with to the best of our knowledge. Now, keep in mind, Colin Oliver and Baron Sorrell don't have the cheese emoji, so I never seen it reported. Savion Williams wasn't reported until after the draft. Easton Butler got that information that they did actually meet with Savion, okay? So keep that in mind as well. But at the top of the list, you got Matthew Golden. We had a 34.0 grade on him, okay? Now, keep in mind, the 33rd team had him 29th. DJ's board had him 24th, so they had him right around where the Packers took him. We were a little bit lower on Matthew Golden, although 34, wherever we pick, that's going to be right there in that tier. I remember live, we were in Green Bay covering the draft, and we went around the horn and said, who do you think the pick is here? Who do you think the pick is here? I said Matthew Golden. It just felt like this was going to be Matthew Golden, even though it was a slight reach. But again, Matthew Golden had a 34.0 grade on him. His PFF grade on the year ended up being 70.5. So obviously Matthew Golden had a solid year there as a rookie. Now the next ranked player that we took was actually our 3rd round pick in Savion Williams. We had a 91.1 grade on him, okay? So again, 32, 64, 96, 91.1. We had a 3rd round grade on this guy, okay? And that's where we ended up taking him. We had him higher than Anthony Belton. Now, his PFF grade ends up being a 60.2. It's in the red because obviously he was injured. I think that's a hit. Anytime that you grade 60 or higher as a rookie, usually a pretty good indicator you're going to be a good football player in the National Football League. So to me, that looks like a solid hit. Again, Savion, team captain, cheese emoji, meaning the Packers met with him, and he was a top 30 visit as well. Matthew Golden was a top 30 visit as well. Now, keep in mind, Matthew Golden met the athletic threshold. That's what the heart eye emoji is. And, to the best of my knowledge, Matthew Golden was not a captain. I don't know for sure. If you guys have that information, fire it into the chat. So Anthony Belton, we had a 109.0 on Jacob. When we picked him, everybody in the room kind of went across the board like, that feels like a reach there, right? And you guys can go back and watch the tape. I said, yeah, Jacob, but I've got to check my ego and go, all right, Goody knows how to evaluate offensive linemen. Well, as we've seen, Anthony Belton graded out at 48.2. That does not mean he's not going to be a good football player, okay? It just simply means he struggled his rookie year. There's no one who's going to convince me otherwise. But what do you think about the first 3 picks there? And it's pretty interesting that we had Matthew Golden 1. Savion Williams would have been the better pick in the 2nd round, and then Anthony Belton would have been more worth the 3rd rounder, although we did still end up getting both of those players.
You know, I honestly sit here and I look at this board, and if you look down a few spots, it shows that we knew what the hell we were talking about, bro. I mean, Warren Brinson, Nazir Stackhouse, Jaden Higgins, Jaden Knoll, Woody Marks was absolutely killing it. Jalen Smith was one of the best cornerbacks out of the league there. Tyler Warren, I mean, even if you look at that cluster right there of what we got, we had Baron Sorrell, Colin Oliver, Nazir Stackhouse, Warren Brinson. It was all right there, dude. Like we literally did it. Like it, and I'm very, very proud of the board that we put together every single year. Matthew Golden, did he get to be the shining star that we thought he would be? No. But could he? be, and do I think he will be? Yes, absolutely. I also think the same thing about Anthony Belton, because we've seen shining moments from him, and I think that this offensive line this year was kind of a poop show. You know what I mean? Like, we were placing guys in positions that they were not ready to play or did not play before. I think that if Anthony Belton gets set into a certain point where he actually understands, this is my position, this is what I have to do. Like, I think that he's going to be a star. I really do. Like, I still have not given up hope on that young man.
Me neither. Yeah.
And he's a dog, bro. He's a dog.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. And again, when you look at the rest of this board, Baron Sorrell, and by the way, shout out to Chester Marcos to spin that football. If you guys would take a quick second, hit that like button for us, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you're tuning in because you've seen the thumbnail of Christian Watson speaking, we already covered that. Just rewind back to the first of the show, and you can get that information and get out, so you don't have to hear us talk draft if you don't want to do that. We greatly appreciate you hitting that like button for us. So Baron Sorrell graded out a 121.4. Okay, so. Obviously, the Packers ended up taking him. He was a Senior Bowl participant. He was not, to the best of my knowledge, he did not meet with the Packers. He was one of those players that was kind of up and down according to PFF. Now, keep in mind here that Greg Cosell, 5-point bonus on Baron Sorrell. Loved him. The RAS was a 5. That means it's a 9+ RAS, so through the roof. Anthony Belton was a 7+. When I took the information down, we need to check that and make sure it did hold true. But again, Savion Williams, 3-point bonus for Greg Cosell. Greg Cosell really liked Savion. Greg Cosell loved Matthew Golden. So again, of the 7 players that we drafted, Greg Cosell gave bonuses to 3 of them. Again, that were Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, and of course, Baron Sorrell. Next on the list was Colin Oliver. The grade we had there was a 160.3. Okay. And keep in mind, we had a 160.3 on him. The consensus big board had him at 253. Right. And notice the injury issues, right? When 2024, we had it tagged, hey, injury concern here. We still took him. Obviously, ended up having, I think he had surgery early coming out of training camp or what have you, because some stuff was lingering. And then we see him there in the final game of the season. I think Colin Oliver's got a chance to be a great football player. It's still early. We'll see how that goes. His RAS was through the roof at a 9+ as well.
Somebody said that they're calling him Baby Micah. Like, that's, if anything, is a testament. I mean, Baby Micah.
Even though he doesn't like it, yeah. And to me, what they're referencing there, if you were to try to highlight Micah and go, okay, what is it that Micah does well? What is his superpower? It's quick twitch, it's speed, it's agility. Yes. He's definitely got that. There's no doubt about it. Colin Oliver, that he's a little athletic freak. So yeah, some would say maybe he's a little undersized. Some would say the same thing about Micah when he came out too. Yep. And you see, he's running through 600-pound of offensive linemen on
triple teams.
Yeah. So Nazir Stackhouse to 167.2. Obviously, 0 points on the RAS. Greg Cosell didn't say anything about him, but Greg don't cover every prospect. He kind of hits the guys towards the top, obviously. But the Packers did meet with Nazir Stackhouse, and he ended up being an undrafted free agent. So he actually was not a draft pick, right? If I remember correctly. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. So we're probably missing a draft pick here that maybe I did not tag with the GB. We need to pull the whole thing up there. If somebody would, who are we missing on this in the chat? And Jacob, if you'll kind of keep an eye on it. We got Matthew Golden, Savion Williams, Anthony Belton, Baron Sorrell, Colin Oliver, Nazir Stackhouse, and Warren Brinson. All right. Who are we missing from the draft class? Because I'm pretty sure Nazir Stackhouse, wasn't he an undrafted free agent? Because Warren Brinson, we had a lower grade on him at 178.7.
I believe so, yeah.
The RAS was a 5-point bonus, right? So Micah Robinson was a 7th
round draft pick, yeah.
That's right. And we ended up
we also had go. John Williams, yep.
Yeah, I'm going to hit that in just a second. So Warren Brinson, 178.7 was his grade. The consensus big board, guys, 296. So again, consensus big board said he was 296. We had a 178.7 on him, and look at where he ended up going. The Packers ended up drafting in the 5th or 6th round, somewhere around there, right? So I'm going to go tag our boy Micah Robinson real quick with the Green Bay thing, so he'll pop up there as well. And it's going to make you sick when you see him too, guys, because he graded out really, really well this year for sure.
That's Tulane? One that was he from Tulane? Is that what I'm thinking right?
Yeah, from Tulane. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we'll throw him in there now. Bang, bang.
And then John Williams, I believe, was a Cincinnati guy. had some back issues, didn't let him get into the mix this year, but still have hope for him.
Yeah, John Williams. Okay, that's what it was then. So was Micah actually a draft pick, or was he? I know they signed him, so we'll just put Green Bay on it anyway. But again, he didn't finish the season with Green Bay. Look at this though, guys. 70.6. He got hurt this year, or I'm sorry. It means there was less than 100 snaps is what the red means. It might have been injury. It might have been lack of playing time. But nonetheless, he was grading out pretty good. He was one of my draft crushes. I really, really like Michael Robinson for sure. So anything you want to add there, Jacob? I'm going to see if I can find John Williams real quick and tag him.
Yeah, no, Jake Wilson, he was a 7th rounder. I believe that as well. And gosh, a lot of people give Goody a lot of crap lately, especially for his draft picks and whatever. But I really do feel like that he does a good job of especially finding good talent in later rounds. Like we've seen that throughout his career, through his tenure, through the Green Bay Packers. And you guys know how much I'm a sucker for, cheap. I'm a cheap guy. So like even stuff like we talk about with Walker, 7th rounders, this kind of thing. I believe that's a skill. That is a very good skill set, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen in this year's draft because man, this we got some guys that are sitting out there where we're going to start looking at them when we do these mock drafts and stuff, where it's just like, man, maybe we have some diamonds in the rough, and I think that's going to be a very, very fun thing to look for as we go forward into the season.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, John Williams, we had him captain. Right? Cheese emoji, they met with him. Yep. I heart emoji, meaning he met the threshold and he was a top 30 visit. So they really, really like John Williams. Who knows, man? Maybe he comes out of the ashes this year after the injury and he's fully healthy. Maybe he could be someone who could help on this offensive line. You never know.
We got a lot of guys like that, Clay, that could. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of guys that maybe didn't perform up to our standards, and how spoiled are we that we believe that like late round draft picks need to just all of a sudden they need to perform. They need to come out here and show us that they're Hall of Famers. No, like maybe it just takes them a year or two, and we got a lot of them. I was gonna say Glover. I don't want to sit here and be like I'm Emilio's boyfriend or whatever, but there are players that are still out there that have left a lot to be seen.
Yeah. And Clint C in the chat says, what's the deal with John Williams? John Williams ended up having back surgery, and they kept that kind of close to the vest for a while. Yeah. He came into training camp. I think he had it in training camp, or we were hoping to get him active at some point, and then we found out later on in the season he actually had back surgery. So I want to say that was something that he maybe tweaked in the offseason coming into his rookie year. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it actually happened in camp. Everything's kind of blurry right now. But yeah, Clint, that was the deal, man. He ended up having back surgery. And listen, we know how back surgeries go. He may never be able to play in the league. I hope that's not the case, because it's obvious. There's a lot of emojis there, man. When you get that much artwork here on our board, it's usually a sign that, hey, there's something going on here. There's something special. Now, you'll also notice if we sort by the name and position here, you're going to see a spade, and we're going to do this again this year. These spades mean they are prime picking for the Packers, okay? And we lit them up gold for that reason. So, again, the more emojis you get over here, it's what it's signaling is, hey, guys, keep an eye right here. Keep an eye right here. This dude right here is probably on the Packers' radar heavy. So, like Shamar Stewart, T.J. Sanders, Trey Amos, Emeka Egbuka, Jordan Birch, Josh Simmons, Tyleek Williams, and Walter Nolan, right? Those guys that have those, the reason that they were lit up with spades was like, all right, cheese emoji, heart emoji. You had the top 30 visits. And all of that, some of them captains as well. When you get those three together with the top 30 visit mainly, that's going to put them in that spade category where you look up and go, okay, they are really, really on the Packers' radar. You guys know my draft crush was this dude right here, Walter Nolan. Obviously, he didn't make it to the Packers, and rightfully so. 19.9 was the grade we had on him. Again, notice this too, Jacob. When you look at all these guys with the spades, look at all the Greg Cosell bonuses, right? Like, obviously Woody Marks isn't on that list, but Shamar Stewart, right? Greg Cosell, 1 point bonus. TJ Sanders, defensive lineman out of South Carolina, 3 point bonus. Trey Amos, 5 point bonus. Emeka Egbuka, 3 point bonus. Jordan Birch, 3 point bonus. Josh Simmons, 1 point bonus. Tyleek Williams, 5 point bonus. And Walter Nolan, he said, was the best defensive tackle in the draft, hands down, even though a lot of people didn't see it that way. So
it's almost like the old man knows what he's talking about, huh?
He does. Now, if you sort this by if you sort this by PFF grade, and we go Z to A so we can get the high number up here to the top, here are your top graded rookies that were on our draft board last year, okay? A lot. And again, some of these are red, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. There may be 5 snaps, right?
Sean Dolak. Oh, no, man.
Yeah. Elijah Huzzy, cornerback, 90.6. Sean Dolak, 88.5. Jeffrey Bassa, however you say it, linebacker out of Oregon, 85.7. Quentin Skinner, I hardly know her. Wide receiver out of Kansas, 82.8. Cam Scatabo, all right, 80.5. And notice it's lit up. It's not lit up red, which means he did play over 100 snaps. He played a significant amount of snaps before he got injured and was out for the rest of the year. Theo Weiss, wide receiver out of Missouri, 80.1. Tet McMillan was so frustrating, guys, because going in, we create our board before all the buzz starts and all that, and people start dropping on boards. That's the whole reason we do it. That's the purpose behind getting the board information in early. We were saying Tet McMillan is your top receiver, and boy, oh boy, people started buying into the hype. I listened to several podcasts, and they're gonna remain nameless. Say, well, he doesn't like to watch film. Well, he's kind of he's a bad locker room guy. He's this, he's that. He doesn't like football. And then all of a sudden, what did Greg Cosell say? 5-point bonuses, the way he talked about him, I gave him a 5-point bonus. And he said, isn't it amazing? So did Ross Tucker said this. There has been nothing said about Tet McMillan negatively until 2 weeks before the draft. Now, all of a sudden, a video surfaces from his freshman year where he said he doesn't watch tape other than with the team, right? And all of a sudden, he starts dropping on boards. Obviously, he was an absolute stud. We had a 6.9 grade on him, and PFF ended up grading out a 79.3. That was hands down your best player. Now, Luther Burden, we were higher on Luther Burden than we were Matthew Golden. 25.8 was Luther Burden's grade. He was the better receiver on our board when we took Matthew Golden. I'm not upset we took Matthew Golden. I like either of those as a pick, but I think we would all agree Luther Burden had a hell of a year. Last I checked, 77.9 was his PFF grade. The board is doing what the board is supposed to do, Jacob.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it is, and it's pretty impressive, honestly. Like I said, testament to you guys, to Clay, obviously, and to Emilio. Emilio does a lot of hard work with this kind of stuff. You can also look down here, and you'll see other guys like Kobe King, Mario Hampton, Jihad Campbell, Wyatt Millum. These are guys that we also had higher on the board. Like it is pretty impressive, and now we've kind of fine-tuned, I think, our craft to the point where like this we're starting to show some stuff, man. And like you said, a lot of people are late to the party, trying to say that, we knew this guy would be huge. We knew this guy would be huge. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but like we have it on paper. So that's pretty cool.
That's what I love about the show too, is it holds us accountable. Like if we get something wrong, you guys could just go back and watch it. So this whole idea that people want to pretend like they had the answers and this and that, I could care less about being right. There's nothing that pisses me off more and will make me unsubscribe to a podcast more than I told you so. If somebody says that, well, I tried to tell you, I told you. Nobody, that self-edification is people repellent, period. I can't stand it. But the whole purpose here is to show, hey, look, we're putting the work out there. We're showing you, here's what we've got. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. We got to own up to it. I say it all the time. I'm married. I'm wrong all the time. Okay. I promise. I hear it all the time. So, a couple other things I want to hit here. Omarion Hampton, we had a 27.2 on him. Consensus Big Board had him at 52. All right. Jihad Campbell, 22.3 is what we had. Consensus Board had him at 32. Those guys graded out 77 and 76, according to PFF. Wyatt Millum, we had a 77.9 on Wyatt Millum. Okay. Dane Brugler had him at 96. 33rd team had him at 85. DJ's Big Board had him at 117. So we had him significantly higher than those three. However, the Consensus Big Board, notice Wyatt Millum, they had him at 42. So that's one that I can say we got wrong. But the reason it brung us down to 77.9 is because of Daniel Jeremiah's take on him, the 33rd team's take on him, and Dane Brugler's take on him. Right. The RAS, again, these are not our personal opinions. This isn't how does Clayton feel about Wyatt Millum. It's what do the people we trust the most put all that information in the database, and what does it tell us their grade is. Okay. Another one here, Abdul Carter, that was a slam dunk. We knew it was going to be 74.7. He was, I think he was the top player on our board, I believe. Tyler Shuck. I remember when we talked about Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck, quarterback out of Louisville, right? Notice the little whatever you call cap and gown emoji there. That talking about him having multiple degrees. Who cares, Clayton? It means he's very intelligent. Probably means he's quick processor, right? That's the. Think of Andrew Luck. That would be one that we had the cap and gown on, right? So the reason that he was so high on our board, okay, the main thing was Greg Cosell. I had to give a 7-point bonus. Greg Cosell, I actually bumped him up a little bit too, because Greg Cosell said this is the best quarterback in the draft. That's what Greg Cosell said. This is the best quarterback in the draft. He got raked over the coals for it. And then general managers started to reach out to him and sending him messages. This is what he said on Ross Tucker's podcast. He said, yeah. And I got messages from several GMs going, you're on it. You're spot on that one. NFL GMs love Tyler Shuck as a pro prospect, okay? So we gave him a 7-point bonus. The RAS was through the roof at 5. We had an 83.1 grade on Tyler Shuck. The consensus big board at the end of the college football season had a 308 on him.
Jeez.
And we were saying, no, we actually feel like he's a top 80 prospect. Again, 74.6 ended up being his grade. Noah Williams, 74.5 was his grade. We had him at 104. The consensus big board had him at.
Loved Noah Williams. Said that he'd be.
How many times did we draft Noah Williams in our mock drafts? Because it was just like he's always there, because the consensus big board and the PFF big board didn't see him as high. Consensus big board had him at 215. PFF big board had him at 150. And look at all the bonuses, guys. Senior Bowl bonus. He dominated at the Senior Bowl, right? RAS was a 7+, I believe. Greg Cosell gave him a 3-point bonus. We had a 104.1 on him. He ended up grading out a 74.5. And, of course, Carson Swisinger, I think did he end up getting the Defensive Rookie of the Year? Is that what it was, Jacob? Something like that.
He was in Cleveland, right?
Yeah, it was some kind of award he won just the other day.
He was a baller, bro. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is this, like I said, this is not me. This is Emilio and Clayton and everybody doing just their due diligence. This board works, man. It really does work. We're starting to see it come to fruition every single year, to the point where it's like, it's undeniable, man. It is.
And so Carson Swisinger, we had a 48.9 on him. Greg Cosell, we gave a 1-point bonus for there. So a 48.9. The consensus big board going into the draft process, 107. And he ended up winning, like I said, that award the other night. And of course, Walter Nolan was my draft crush. The grade on him was a 19.9. The consensus big board had him at 27. That's why I kept talking about Walter Nolan, going, guys, this dude right here. And the Packers met with him, top 30 visit. They met with him at the Senior Bowl. He's a captain. He met the athletic threshold. He ended up getting the spade, the whole 9 yards. That's why I was saying, if he is there when we pick, got to take him. And I need to know where Walter Nolan was actually drafted, because I don't think he was available when we picked. I'm almost positive.
Pretty sure he was not. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he got caught up a little bit.
Yeah, he was taken 16th. Yep. So, and again, people will go, well, why did he go 16th when he was 27th on the consensus big board? He was 33rd on the PFF big board, right? Well, again, they took him at 16. We had a 19.9 on him. Also, it's a tier 1 position of importance, right? Yep. So you're going to reach a little bit on those guys. You know, that's sometimes the cluster buster. If you've got those guys grouped together, even though they have a lower grade, they're in the same cluster. You're always going to go tier 1 over that. So, yeah. All right, cool. So there you go, guys. Just wanted to give you a quick rundown of the board and what it looked like last year going into the process. Somebody asked, where did we have JSN at? I think I had JSN as my top receiver that year. I can't remember what year that was. Was it 3 years ago, 2 years ago? When was that, Jacob? Do you remember?
I believe it was 3 years ago. Yeah, we had him up there real high. Yep.
I remember.
It was so high that we thought that he was undraftable, basically, for us. Like that was it basically wasn't going to reach us, is kind of how we if I remember correctly, that was.
Yes. So it was the LVN year, I believe. If I remember correctly. So I don't have the board in a database. If you guys followed the show, that's when we first launched the show. I actually had a huge whiteboard right here and had everything inked in. So you could go back and watch that draft and see where we had him. I think we had him as the top receiver. We definitely had him in the top 3 of the receivers there for sure. So anyway, that's it, guys. We're going to get out of here. Jacob, you got anything else you want to hit before we wrap up, man? Anything at all?
No, man. I mean, this is, like I said, such a testament to the amount of time and effort we put into this board, specifically, like, again, you, Emilio, Tim, everybody kind of pours their heart and soul into these boards. And then all of a sudden lately, it just seems like when you look back a year or 2, 3 after, it's just, it's really nice. It's really cool to see how actually like it comes to fruition. It's pretty cool. Honestly, like it's really intriguing to see what could be the next, who's the next Christian Watson, who's the next insert guy here. Like this is the funnest time of the year, man. And a lot of people that maybe like turn off in the off season, we've talked about that. Like, let's go, man. This is fun. Let's talk about it. Let's get it going. We're doing these mock drafts. We're gonna be doing a bunch of this stuff going forward, and it's exciting. I'll tell you.
I've got a new tool I'm going to unveil tonight or later this afternoon if we have time. And I reached out to the person that created it on X, and I'm just going to kind of get confirmation, hopefully get approval. Hey, can I show this on the screen? I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but basically we're going to be able to walk through the entire offseason. We're going to be able to restructure contracts in one stage, then move on to free agency, then move on to the draft, and do a whole offseason together. It's going to be really, really cool. So that's the plan this afternoon. If I can get a response back, they're probably okay with it because I'm going to help promote it for them. And you guys need to check that tool out. Just let me get that buttoned up on the backside. So we'll be doing that a little bit later on today. Zach Will in the chat, best channel Packer wise. I done ran across. Appreciate you, Zach. Thank you so much for the kind words, buddy. Appreciate you, iRock. Everybody in here, man. You guys are awesome. We will be back later this afternoon. Probably do like an early afternoon show since it's Saturday and everybody's just kind of hanging out, right? There's no grass to mow in February, so we're good. We're all just kind of hanging out on a Saturday. So if y'all would do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on anything we do going live moving forward. That's Jacob. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
Here we go. We're out.
Bye, guys.